Peace, 13 love, 13 wisdom, 13 knowledge, and 13 respect. Rise of fly house, 13 influence. Okay. 13 love. Okay. So, I've been wanting to make a video for a while now. And one thing that I've noticed is that when it's not time to make videos, the Most High will not let you. When it's not time to talk about certain information and stuff like that, Most High will not let you speak about it. They'll not let me talk about it because it's almost like I lose the flow of the connection, because it's almost like it's being downloaded and it wasn't meant for me to speak about it. It was just for me to observe the information. And so lately, I've been receiving a lot of information. Well, and what's so crazy is because I made like one video and I tried to post it and I couldn't post it. I tried to post it so much, so bad in TLC, and I could not post it. But I saw over like the next 3 weeks that everybody was talking about what I was talking about in some form of fashion. And I'm not gonna get into that right now, but what I want to speak about is, okay, a lot of times when I meet, a lot of times the people that I be around, a lot of times they are always wondering exactly what to do. And, you know, as far as dealing with this system, how do we get out the system? How do we maneuver in the system? How do we do all these things? How do we live within the system but still be detached from the system as well? Or in other words, how do I be off the grid but still am allowed to do commerce within the system? And they asked me these questions, and I know the answer, but it's like the Most High is like, that's not important yet. Which I fully agree with the ancestors with that, because it's really not important. Because what I find is that if you can't grasp your own history, culture, flag, and traditions, you should not be worrying about how to go off the grid and still do commerce within the system. Why do I say that? Because you have not connected yourself back to the original grid, or should I say connected yourself back to your roots to even have a place to go that you would consider to be off the grid. A lot of people think that off the grid means just to be, you know, out in nature, no electricity, you living off the land, everything's solar powered. And that is true. That is a big part of being off the grid. But really, you have to mentally be off the grid. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to be in nature and actually love nature the way that you love the society. Because a lot of people, what tends to happen is that they will go off the grid and they will be like, man, this is not what I expected. You know, rather than be like, oh man, I'm living off the land, but this is a lot of work. Or, you know, I'm not having as much as I want. I thought I'm supposed to be living in abundance. There's a lot of different things. Like a lot of people, they will try to go into nature and they won't be able to stay there because their mind has been so confined, or this reality, or should I say this society has been so glamorized that they can't really reemerge themselves in nature. which nature is yourself. Nature is you. So that shows the lack of self connection that really limits a lot of people. And so sorry, I got distracted. So when I speak to these people, I usually don't get into that, because the first thing you have to really do is get back to your roots. You have to understand where you come from, because this has to be something that you want from the heart. It can't be something that you want out of fear. It can't be something that you want because that's what's popular nowadays. It has to be a genuine move from the heart, which means it has to come from the higher realms. It has to come from the Elohim. It has to come from the Most High, whatever you like to call, whatever you believe in, whatever. It has to come from that sacred space, because in that space is where your true wants or desires lie. You know, a lot of the desires and the vices that people have do not come from their heart space. It comes from the mind, because it has been indoctrinated and placed within their mind as an illusion of something of great value, which you are your greatest value. The connection that you have with yourself and your environment is your greatest value. That is the gold that you seek. It is not the ones that they might have found in the water. It is the gold that is inside of you that is of great value. Because if everything around you is you, then that means that there is every element within you as well. So you have to realize that first before you go into nature, because once you go into nature and you don't have that, you will even feel more lack, and you will feel more trapped and lonely, because you won't be able to see all of the life around you, because you have attached yourself to something that is dead, that has been given the illusion of being life. We have to understand and understand that nationality goes way beyond just having a title. Nationality is who you are. It identifies you as being someone of a land, of earth, or Gaia, of nature itself. When you don't have that, you're like a child who never knew their parents. You have nothing to lean on. You have no experience. You have no wisdom or knowledge that was ever given to you. So for so-called black people in America, we have dealt with that for a long time, which is why in the state and the government itself, the federal government and up high, we are considered to be wards of the state, because we so-called don't have any connection to nothing. But if you don't have to do a lot of research nowadays. If you just do a little bit of research, you will see that it was actually in the reverse. That the people that you think, well, they are oppressing you, but they are not supreme over you. They are the ones who have had this problem. But the difference is when your ancestors were their guardians, we tried to give them something. Because that's what our ancestors was all about. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and equality for everybody. Love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice for everybody. Which is equality. because that means everybody has an equal standing in this society. So everybody was able and given the opportunity to understand their situation, understand what was going on around them. Hold on, bring it back some, because I'm going off track. Hold on. So when I speak to people, I know. Because see, this is what happened. I'll start rambling and I'll lose my connection. So by learning who you are and learning the truth of who you are, then everything else becomes something that you generally are looking for. You will genuinely want to become self-sufficient because you will see the beauty in that. You will genuinely want to have a nationality because you see the beauty in that. You see the beauty in being able to say, I'm from here. This is what my people did. So I find it funny a lot of times too, because people say they see my tarbush and they be like, that's a nice hat. You know, and it's not necessarily because they think it's a hat. It's because they don't know what to call it. So it's funny because I'll be tell people this is my culture, but in actuality, it's yours too. But because of so much information and misleading information that is out there in the world today, because this is the age of information, so there is a lot of information. That's why I say a lot of stuff I'm talking about is not hard. And it's not about knowing everything. It's about acquiring the information that brings you into being whole. And then once again, like I said, the more and more that you come into yourself and you become whole, the more you do see the beauty in a simpler life. Because a lot of people, they are very rich and powerful, but they're unhappy because they got to what they believe to be the top of the mountain, and they see that this mountain was just some garbage. It's a joke. I mean, if you know, okay, so basically where I got that from is because I used to ride past this hill to work every day, and I thought it was like a hill, and I found out it was just garbage with grass on top. And this is what people do. This is what the United States does. They will take their garbage and they will stack it high, and then they will cover it with grass and put pipes in it to release the pressure from the gas. The gas is created. But I'm coming back around to what I was originally talking about. A lot of people want to know about how to get out of debt, how to get out of paying taxes, how to use their birth certificate and their social security card to get money. And it's like, no, that's not what the ancestors was trying to teach you. Like even Noble Drew Ali said that he will leave the so-called white man around long enough to teach you government. And a lot of people don't understand what he meant by that. What you mean you're going to keep them around? Because we were in slumber. We were in slumber. So we needed to be able to see and study what a government was. Because it's one thing to actually read something. It's another thing to actually lay your eyes upon it and what we would consider to have experience. Because for me to read about a government and then that's it, I really don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? I understand it because I've gotten the basic formula on what it is. But that is just a piece of the puzzle. But as I go into my experience and I actually view it, which I don't have to necessarily go into court for that. You know what I'm saying? I can just go. I mean, you could go to court, but you don't necessarily have to go to court and be at court like you have to fight something. You can go to court and just observe the judge, how he's approached, how he takes his stands. You know what I'm saying? How people treat him in that certain situation. I mean, then you can go you can go anywhere. I mean, you could even just watch TV, which is not that good for you. It's still not. It's still like secondhand experience. But you get what I'm saying? He wanted to leave it around so that you could read it in the newspaper about what the government's doing. You could read it. You could see it. You could watch it on the news. You could do all these things, and you can see what a government is. Now, once you have learned what a government was by reading the book and basically the basic principles of a government and how it's ran, the judicial system, the electoral system, and the what's the other one? What's the third one? No, there's judicial system. Is it the executive system? And then it's something else. I can't remember right now, but I know. I mean, because we learn these stuff in school, but you get what I'm saying. And so then you have that blueprint and you put it up to the one that you see in your reality, and you be like, oh, that's not right. That's wrong. That's something wrong there. You know what I'm saying? This is what he meant by that. He meant that you have to be able to view things. And you have to start from the root to really understand something. Through the action of learning and through the action of actually experiencing something brings understanding to what you have observed in your reality, what you have experienced through your journey. So, once again, going back to what I was saying, when people ask me that, it's like you're a kindergartner and you want me to teach you high school math. Take it one step at a time. Because this is something that this is not a fad or something that's trending. This is something that's dealing with you and can either benefit you or harm you. If you understand what I'm saying. It can benefit you or harm your generations down. So if you don't do these things in the proper steps and you don't have a genuine desire to grasp this information, then you should just leave it alone. Because you'll end up messing up. And then you'll be worse off than you were before you even started. And that's why you have a lot of people that end up in jail and stuff, doing all this kind of crap, man. I mean, it is ways of doing stuff like that. Like as far as not paying taxes and stuff like that. But then you'd be like, is that important? Is that the most important part of me trying to be away from this system? Is to try to abuse it? Like they're abusing you? Yeah, not for an eye, right? But as they say in Naruto, war only brings more war. 13 love, 13 wisdom, 13 knowledge, 13 respect. Rise of flies, stay true like knives. I am Ray Obey. Just a little big on mama, nothing that's rules, niggas, naginis. 13 love, TLC. I'm out.